What's up guys, Traum here, and today I have multiple teams for you for 3 different dungeons. And yeah, you guessed it right, it's for the talent dungeons. It's for the dungeons where you farm the crystals for your talents. I will start with the Frost dungeon, then with the Permafrost, then I will go to the Wildfire, and then I will finish with Resplendence. There should be timestamps down below in the description for all the different dungeons. So if you are interested in one particular dungeon, you can skip ahead, find what you need. That's it. And also, before we start, I want to show this Psychic core. So that's how far I am. I was focusing mainly on Permafrost and the Resplendence. So I still don't have this Wildfire and the accuracy on Wildfires and resistance for Wildfires. But I have everything else for all the other classes or other categories like the Resplendence and the Permafrost. And I'm actually working on this elemental damage bonus. I'm at plus 12% and I'm at minus 8% damage taken. So that's how far I am in the Psychic core. But enough talking, and let's go right into it.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go.
Alright, so here's my first team for the Permafrost dungeon, as you see. I'm using my Dauntless, plus I'm using 3 supports. I'm using Thorin, I'm using Catherine, and then Iola. And then for DPS I'm using Divine Ascetic and Shaltar. I will explain why. Because for this dungeon, what's very important is a lot of attack speed. Because this boss will put this stone skin on her, my bad. And each time she inflicting a negative effect. So every time she does some debuff on you, she will get 5 stacks of thorn skin. And you want to get rid of it, and you will get rid of it by auto attack. So the more auto attack, like the faster you attack, the faster your heroes attack, the better it is. You know, the faster you will get rid of this buff. Because when she had the thorn skin on her, the taking damage consumes 1 stack and reducing 70% of that damage. This effect can stack up to 30 times. So if she has the thorn skin on her, she will reduce the damage she takes by 70%. That's huge. Also, one more thing, never use cold or necrotic heroes in this dungeon because they will do 90% reduced damage on the highest stage, and also they will take 90% more damage. So never use necrotic or cold heroes in here. Also, what's really nice is control immunity or debuff immunity. And for that, for the debuff, I'm using actually Thorin and I'm using Catherine because Catherine can put debuff immunity on her ultimate for 10 seconds. And Thorin can do the debuff immunity on the marked ally. He will mark the ally in front of him and put debuff immunity. On everybody else, he puts invisibility and do a lot of healing. And then I'm using Iola because she does a lot of AoE damage. She silence, she does attack penalty too, and I'm also using her with which remains, so she puts defense penalty too as well. That's for the wave clear pretty much, not for the boss. She also puts silence, and then she has a chance to convert or change the silence into stun on enemies. So a very nice champion for this, for the wave clear. And then as I said before, I'm using my Dauntless because they do a lot of attack speed and they do a lot of basic attacks. So they will reduce the thorn skin on a boss. So I'll be able to do more damage. I don't think I have any presets for this one. No, I do. I actually do. I do have a preset because I want my Divine Ascetic to cast right after Iola. Everybody else is kind of like, I don't need this. I don't need this because the run will get messed up at the end because of the waves. So it doesn't matter. Only what matters is like, let my Iola cast in the same interval as my damage dealer. Divine Ascetic, because she will put the defense penalty on the boss, and then Divine Ascetic will do his big ultimate with for a lot of damage. So that's the only thing that I have for the skill timing. Everything else is not that important. I will show you the build real quick. So let me start with my Divine Ascetic. I have him built with 48k HP, 1700 defense, almost 5k attack, 80% crit rate, and 211 crit damage. His attack interval is at 1.39. I have his exclusive artifact on him as well. I have him built with Heart of Gambler for the attack speed and damage, and also with the Whisper, the Serial Whisper for attack and skill haste. Just small correction, I don't want to use this. I did some farming in here, and I have much better, I think, negative runes in here than that one. Let me do just real quick, I will change it, and I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. I just changed the negative rune. I was fine before, I did a couple runs, it was fine. I just want to like improve him a little bit, so I'll give him more attack. I lost a little bit of crit rate, like 4% crit rate, and 9% crit damage, but I gain like 400 attack, almost 300 something attack. So I think it's worth it. Plus a lot of HP and some defense for the survivability as well, not bad. Next champion is Thorin. I have him built with 92k HP, 2.5k defense, 221 enlightenment, 35 skill haste as well, and I'm using the ancestor protection on him for the HP, defense, and the damage reduction, right? He will transfer 50% of other allies' damage taken onto him. Then I'm using this artifact, the Mirror of the Living, for all the healing boost and a lot of HP and defense as well. Next champion, Iola, yeah, I think Iola, that's her name. So I have a build with 56k HP, 1300, almost 1400 defense, 2k attack, 100 enlightenment, doesn't matter, almost 300 accuracy, little bit of crit and crit damage because she can do some damage as well. And I have a build with Holy Hunter for the accuracy and skill haste, as well as with Puppeteer Inspiration for the accuracy and resistance. I see I have bad negative rune here, but it's whatever. I don't want to waste more time here. Then next champion, Shelter. I have him built with 50k HP, 1400, almost 1500 defense, 4.4k attack, 217 enlightenment. Could be better, but it's fine. Little bit of crit rate and crit damage, and with 1.8 second attack speed interval, and 31 skill haste. So I'm using the Platinum Knight quality on him for the attack and enlightenment, as well as the Zero Whisper for the attack and skill haste. Also, very nice, this artifact, this legendary artifact, the Wild Ink. It gives me attack and attack percentage, and also the viewer attacks cannot trigger critical hits, but deal 35% more derivative damage, which is what he does on his ultimate. Very nice on him. This artifact is very good for him. And the last champion that I'm using is Catherine. I have her build with 70k HP, 1800 defense, 86 enlightenment. Not that good. I don't know what happened here. That's fine. I have her with 73 skill haste, so she casts really fast. That's probably why I gave up on a lot of enlightenment. I'm using this artifact on her, the Illuminati Order Gospel, because it gives me some HP, some defense, and also it increases the healing by 15% if you have it at level 20. So that's the team I'm using. I don't need any food buff or anything. I will just change this, the Wukong stuff. Wukong, Divine Ascetic, I'm sorry. And let's go to the run. It should be really relatively quick. Like the first two waves are not a big deal. Shelter is kind of close to being dead sometimes, but he should be fine, he should survive. Sometimes he dies on a boss, but then Divine Ascetic can finish it. As you see, there is one pushback and stun from this hero. I don't know his name. That's a little bit nasty. But these waves should be relatively easy to do. We should be quickly at the boss. I feel like this dungeon is kind of the easier one, because there is not that much stuff to do. You just need a lot of attack speed to get rid of the Thorn Skin. Or you can get debuff immunity or resistance, right? A lot of resistance, so that the boss cannot inflict any debuffs on you. So if you build your Thorin with 400 resistance, stuff like that, and use his bottle aura, and use the talent that he gives resistance to agents allies, you might get away with not needing a debuff immunity and stuff like that, because you will be able to resist everything. As you see, we are at the boss at 344, and we're doing fine. We're doing plenty of damage right now. Everybody is kind of healthy. We should be fine. We should be able to do it in like 2 minutes. 2 minutes left, something like that. Now you saw, Iola did the defense penalty on the boss, and Divine Ascetic does his ultimate after. She does 3 hits, so she's pretty reliable to put the defense penalty on the boss. And as you see, not right now, that's the defense penalty, and now. The boss inflicted a lot of negative stuff on me, like a lot of debuffs, and gain a couple of those Thorn Skins, right? You will see it right here. Right now he has 1421, but since my down class do so much damage, like they have so much attack speed, or like they do a lot of basic auto attacks, right? They get rid of the Thorn Skin so fast that the boss is not that difficult, you know what I mean? Like, his 70% damage reduction is pretty much non-existent, because I don't care about it too much. I get rid of the Thorn Skin and then I will do a lot of damage after. Like, not every time, sometimes you will do, like you saw, the Divine Ascetic will do the ultimate when the boss has the Thorn Skin, but it's fine. It's just sometimes the run is a little bit faster or slower, but you should have plenty of time to deal with this boss. So just use Dauntless for this. Use Dauntless or use Wildfire champions. I think even the game is recommending you to build Dauntless or Wildfires for this one, for this dungeon. Don't use Cold or Necrotic because they will receive a lot of damage. Thorin is like exception here because I built him with a lot of tankiness and stuff, so he is fine for this dungeon. But if you're afraid of using Thorin, then use someone else who does a lot of healing and maybe some cleansing or debuff immunity. So that's the first dungeon done. Let's go to another one. Let's go to the Wildfire. And for the Wildfire, I also have two teams for you because it's a little bit more difficult, I would say, this dungeon. I have this first one when I'm using Furbat as my tank. Did I not save it? I guess I didn't save this team. Okay, never mind. Just let me quickly change it because I haven't saved this team. I'm sorry. I'll be right back. Alright guys, I'm back with the right team, the fully equipped team. So let me go over the boss real quick. What she does. So she puts a lot of burns on your heroes. Also she dispels all shields from you and then deals fire damage to everybody. And inflict 1 stack of burn. That's her first skill. On her second skill, she deals fire damage to all enemies and inflict 1 stack of burn to enemies without a shield. Very nasty. And then on her ultimate, she immediately resolves all burn on enemies, also deal fire damage to all enemies and damage increased by 10% for each burn stack resolve. So she will like dispel all these burns from you and then do a lot of damage. As you see here, resolve, yeah, that's right. Dispel all burn stack from the target and triggers their full damage effect. So the more burn you have, she will trigger all of them. So if you have like 4 or 5 stacks of burn, she will trigger all burns on you and then she do also a fire damage or AoE and do more damage for all the burns that she dispel. So you don't want these burn on you. There are two ways how to beat this boss. Either use champions with a lot of debuff immunity and dispelling, or use champion with a lot of resistance. And also never use fire or poison champions in here because they take 90% more damage and also they deal 90% less damage, right? So don't use fire champions in here or poison champions, which is why I'm using my Dauntless here. So I'm using Furbat, I'm using Thorin, Catherine, then I'm using Divine Ascetic and Shaltar again. I will show you how I have them built real quick. Let's start with the Furbat. I have him built with almost 90k HP, 3.5k defense. I have him with 236 accuracy. I wish it's around 260. So if you can build him with more accuracy, definitely do it. And also I have him built with Ancestral Protection. So that way he gets more HP, more defense, and then he takes 10% less damage and also absorbs 15% damage from all allies. So that's very nice to have on him because he's my tank with a lot of survivability. Also, he is very nice for this dungeon because on his passive, when dealing damage to enemies under debuffs, the hero has 30% chance of healing the ally with the lowest current HP by 150% defense and dispelling 1 debuff from them, so he can dispel a debuff. So very nice to have. And does a lot of healing, and also his ultimate is attack penalty. Very nice for this dungeon. And also I'm using him with Witch Remains, which puts defense penalty on a boss. So he's my tank, my debuffer, and also a dispeller, a cleanser. So he does a lot of things for me in this dungeon. Then Divine Ascetic, same build as before. Same way as Shaltar, they are built completely same. Nothing changed on these. Then Thorin, and there is a big change in Thorin. I have him with 101k HP, almost 2k defense, 184 enlightenment, and almost 400 resistance. That's the difference. Also, I'm using this talent, this Stand United. He gives Argent's allies 20% of this hero resistance. So he gives everybody, what is it, almost 80 resistance, right? And then the aura, it's now the 40. And then from the Psychic Core, thank you to the person who commented it on my last video or the video before, that the Psychic Core also counts, right? So that's, from Thorin, that's 120 resistance because of the talent and the battle aura, and then your Psychic Core should be another 50 probably resistance, so that's 170 resistance on everybody. You know what I mean? Like, that's amazing. And you only need 260 resistance for this boss. I'll show you. It's recommended to have 260 resistance. So with all these things, we have 170 resistance already on everybody, you know, so you just need like 80 to 100 resistance on everybody else, which is like kind of close what I have. I have 80 on Shaltar, I have 58 on Divine Ascetic, and on Furbat I only have 14. But that's fine, because Thorin also, on his ultimate, he puts debuff immunity on a mark ally, and he marks the ally in front of him, so he marks for my Furbat, and my Furbat will get debuff immunity on this on Thorin ultimate. Next champion is Catherine, or Katarine. I have her build with 70k HP, 1800 defense, 86 enlightenment only, but with a lot of skill haste again, with 73 skill haste. And I'm using this Luminary Order Gospel on her. She's also built with 152 resistance, plus the Thorin stuff, she should be fine. And I'm mainly using her for her ultimate, because she heals all allies in the range, in this star shape, and then she put debuff immunity for 10 seconds. Very good champion for this dungeon, so definitely use somebody who does debuff immunity. So she is very nice. Estelle is kind of okay, you can use Estelle. Alicia, if you have this Asilia, she's amazing for this dungeon. I was using her before, but for the purpose of this video, I was like, okay, I will not use legendary hero, because I don't think everybody has her, right? So that's why I changed the team a little bit. But she is amazing for this dungeon, because on her ultimate, she puts debuff immunity, dispels all debuffs, and then heals everybody. So she is insanely good for this dungeon, like, wow. But you can get away with Catherine and Thorin, and they do fine in here. I will show you this team, and then I have one more team after. Let me just show you the run. It should be pretty fast. I think here is in this dungeon, Shaltar will die, probably at the end, or closer to the end. I was mistaken with the previous dungeon. No, I think he's dying in this one. So let me get through the waves, and then I will bring you back once we are at the boss, alright? Alright guys, we are at the boss. I think it's like 3 minutes something. Yeah, 3:55. So relatively quickly, we got to the boss, to her. And now it's all about doing the dispelling and, you know, damage. So now the Furbat did his ultimate. He put the attack penalty and defense penalty on the boss. And as you saw, only one burn was on the Furbat, so we were fine. The boss did like 0 damage pretty much, which is nice. Sometimes you get like 3-4 debuffs or the burns, so the boss will do a little bit more damage. But you should be fine, like you have a lot of healing and a lot of stuff to deal with it. Because Catherine also puts... No, she doesn't put defense up to, no. She does debuff immunity, I'm sorry. But you see, like I'm doing a lot of damage and I'm still healthy. So build two Dauntless champions, or I don't know, Necrotic champions as well. You can use, for example, Premsta and Zadok, like my very much, how would I say, my favorite champions pretty much. That's what I'm trying to say. Like Zadok and Premsta, they carry me in a lot of dungeons, so I like those two. So that's just some ideas. Like these DPS are up to you guys what you build. I would just recommend to use Thorin and Catherine in here, because they do a lot of stuff, a lot of healing and debuff immunity for you. So 2 minutes 22 seconds left, and we already killed the boss. And I will show you the other team. I was using this team for Thorin for his a lot of resistance. Now to the other team, if you don't build your Thorin with a lot of resistance, what I did is I used this rare champion, Anna. Because on her ultimate, what she does is she grants recovery over time to each ally for 10 seconds, and then she dispels 1 debuff from them. So she does a lot of the dispelling debuffs, and she will heal, like decent heal. I am not using any skill timings for this team or the previous team that I showed you. But she is really nice as well in this dungeon. She does a lot of stuff. She also grants hit recovery to an ally for 10 seconds on her battle skill. On her passive, she restores 50% max HP when taking damage that exceeds 25% of the hero's max HP. And this can trigger once every 10 seconds. So she's built with a lot of survivability. Also, I'm using her with this Brotherhood Spirit, because when the Weaver casts an ultimate skill, all allies' elemental damage increases by 50% for 10 seconds. So let me show you this run. I will just do the waves, and then I will bring you back once we are at the boss, alright? Alright guys, we are at the boss at 4 minutes. And hopefully we can do it, because this run was a little bit harder. I think this is when Shaltar died. I'm really confused. I did a lot of runs today because I tried to build different teams that are more accessible. because I was using some legendary hero stuff like that I have. But for this video, I'll try to like make it more free-to-play friendly. And we failed. Okay, something is wrong in here. Maybe we can still do it. Let's see. But that's not what usually happens. What the heck? Let's see if we can still do this run. Hopefully we can. Because Divine Ascetic he can be tanky. He has this talent, I think, when he does the lifesteal on his basic auto attacks, I think. So we should still be fine, like even if my champions die. But she didn't use her ultimate fast enough, this rare champion. Sometimes she does it, sometimes I guess she doesn't. She doesn't cast it fast enough to cleanse everybody. But we should still be able to manage this run. I know these champions are built a little bit, you know, like the gear is kinda good on them. It's not like garbage gear. But at this point, guys, I think you should have some decent gear with all the teams I show you for different dungeons. I know that the talent dungeons are a little bit different, you know, but I think at this point, like, it's not that hard to build, you know, the equipment. I'm pretty sure most of you have better gear than I have, because I'm kind of unlucky when it comes to gear, I would say. But yeah, you see 145 and we are still able to do it, even though the run was kind of messed up because my two guys died, but Divine Ascetic finished it. So this team is a little bit worse, I would say, so definitely try to use your Thorin. And even if you cannot reach like 400 resistance, try to reach like 300 resistance. That's 60 plus your aura, that's 40, plus your psychic core at this point, that's another 50, so that's 150 resistance. So you only need another 90 resistance on your champions. Maybe not on everybody, maybe you can get away with your DPS not having the resistance, but definitely build your tank and your healer or the other support with 90 plus resistance, maybe 100 resistance, and then your Thorin should do the trick. Because everybody has Thorin, right? So let's go to the last dungeon, the Resplendence. I'm using Eurian as my tank and damage reduction. I'm using Thorin for my healing. I'm using Vorish for the buff prohibition. And then I'm using Zadok and Premstaff for a lot of AoE damage. Because this boss, I will show you on his ultimate, he sacrificed 25% of his max HP. And then he summons young dragons. I think he summons 5 or 6 dragons for 12 seconds. And then he flies away from the arena. And then he comes back and does AoE lightning damage to everybody. And the damage increased by 50% for each surviving young dragon. So you want a lot of AoE damage and kill these dragons before he lands, right? He also puts a lot of buffs on himself. He puts attack speed up 2, receive healing up 2 as well on himself. And on his another skill, he puts defense up 2. So you want the buff prohibition. And for this, we are using Vorish. On his ultimate, he does 3 hits. I'll show you. He does 3 hits and he puts buff prohibition. When you scroll it, it's 100% chance to put 10%. It's 100% chance of inflicting buff prohibitions for 10 seconds. So definitely use Vorish for this team, for this dungeon, and then use a lot of AoE damage. Like I would say, your summoners should be very good for this, or frost heroes, definitely. One more thing, do not use lightning or radiant damage, Do not use lighting and radiant heroes in here because they will do 90% less damage and they will receive 90% more damage. So don't use them. Use your summoners, necrotic heroes, Permafrost, or use the Wildfire poisoners or frost champions as well. I think frost might be even better than summoners because frost do amazing amount of damage, AoE. So maybe frost might be even better than this. I'm not using any buff. I don't think I'm using any skill timings for this team. As you see, I'm not using any skill timings because these waves, they can like mess up your skill timing. So I'm not using any of it. I'll show you how I have them built real quick. So I have my Eurian with 93k HP, 5k defense, 5.1k defense. But I'm using the Ancestral Protection on him for the HP defense and the damage reduction on my whole team because he will take the damage. Then I'm using my Premsta. And she's built with 42k HP, 1500 defense, almost 6k attack, 286 enlightenment, little bit of crit rate and a little bit of crit damage. I'm using the the Queen's Fan on her for a lot of damage. Then I'm using my Zadok with 36k HP, 16, almost 1700 defense, 4.3k attack, 100% crit rate and 120 crit damage. I'm also using this mythical gear on him, the Fearless Challenger, because the Weaver deals 16% increased damage to enemies with max HP higher than the hero by 50%. Very nice for this dungeon. The boss does, the boss has more HP than my hero, so it will do the damage. Another thing for this dungeon, you need a lot of healing and survivability. Even like healing prohibition could be very nice because the boss does some healing on him with this healing up too. So if you don't have buff prohibition, but everybody should have Voresh, so use Voresh for this. But if you want to use something else, definitely use healing reduction champions or some champions that can do dispel, like dispel debuffs, right? So let's go right into it. I'll show you the run, and I will skip the waves, and I will show you once we get to the boss. Alright guys, we are at the boss for 20 seconds or for 22 seconds. And we are already here. We will wait for the boss to do his ultimate. Now we put the buff prohibition, so the boss will not put the defense up too on him. He has the healing on him, but that's fine. We are good, because now he will use the ultimate and sacrifice 25% of his HP, you see? And then he flies away for 12 seconds. He summons 5 dragons. But I have a lot of AoE damage, so I should be able to deal with them. We have 12 seconds to kill everybody. Even if we don't kill everybody, my Thorin puts the ally protection and damage reduction as well. So there is like a fair safety. But I think we killed all the dragons before the big dragon landed. And now we just rinse and repeat. We put the buff prohibition on everybody. Also this boss, every time you heal, he puts this buff on you that will increase your skill haste, right? So you will be able to cast faster. That's how you can like kind of speedrun this boss. So every time the Thorin does healing, the whole team, the whole arena, the boss and my heroes, they all gain this buff. This skill haste buff pretty much. So I'm able to cast much faster than I'm normally able to do. So we are able to kill this boss relatively quickly. 3 minutes to go and the boss is down. So don't care. In here, you don't care too much about your skill haste, because if you use a healer, like Thorin, every time he heals, the boss will, buff you pretty much. And he doesn't buff himself only, he buffs everybody. I forgot to mention it. You will see it on his passive. The Bone Dragon basic attacks release lightning chain that bounces between enemies up to 5 times, whatever. Lightning damage and perform healing on himself, so he does a lot of healing, but if we are doing the buff prohibition or healing reduction, you're absolutely fine. And each time either side performs healing, Battlefield gains 1 stack of Gathering Tempest. And the Gathering Tempest is an undisplayable Battlefield special effect that increases all units' recharging speed by 0.2% up to 500 stacks. So you get a lot of skill haste or recharging speed. So you will be able to kill this boss. You don't care too much about your skill haste. All you care about is a lot of AoE damage in here. And once again, don't use any lighting or radiant heroes in here, because they will, they receive 90% more damage and they do 90% less damage. So that's my third team, or my fourth team pretty much, for all these talent, dungeons. So I'm able to farm all of them. Plus right now, one more thing. What I can do is in here, I have double material drops, right? So every time I'm using this, the double concentrate, I will get more rewards. That's how I was able to farm a lot of crystals for a lot of different heroes, because I was trying a lot of different teams. I have something big planned. Hopefully it's gonna be entertaining. I hope so. Also guys, I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. I appreciate it. It helps a lot. Also, let me know down below in the comment section if you want to see content like all rare teams or something like that for different dungeons. Like something entertaining when I try to push the stages with only rare heroes, or maybe I will do like stage 15, 16 with only rares, and then we can do 16 to 20 with only epic heroes and see how far we can get. If you want to see that, let me know. And that's it guys, that's the video. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!